In the Know for Monday, April 11, the 101st day of 2022. There are 264 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105 on Litchfield's Country Station 103.9 The Moose. Live online at K105.com via the Apple and Android smartphone app using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Back to school today after spring break, and Easter is next weekend. That and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire. It might be the wife. The beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you feeling super duper major accomplished after all the spring cleaning and spring clean out that you did last week?
I don't know about super duper, but
Just super? Without the duper?
I feel really good about it. But
You moved a lot of stuff around, cleaned out, turned loose of things that you probably normally would have held on to. So
yeah, I did. I did quite a bit.
Did you have a lot of dilemmas going? Do I really need this? Do I not need this? This time to part with this?
Not really. I mean, some of it was easier than others. There were a couple things that, you know, when I do open the box again, it's going to be, but, you know.
Yeah.
For the time being, it's in the box.
Well, as an outsider looking in, it looked pretty impressive
you.
there on all the things that you got accomplished last week. Over there is the 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio News Honk Award. He's the 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Tokyo, and Rio. He's Sam Gormley and the Sparks. Morning, Sam.
Am I working now? Oh,
Yeah,
good.
you're
I am
working
good.
today.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be working or
Took
not.
care of that on Friday,
Good.
right after the show.
Good morning.
You had to scramble. I should have thrown Atlanta in there. You had eyes on Atlanta this
Oh,
weekend,
yeah.
I guess.
All 4 games.
Talk about the Reds coming up. Did you have a good weekend, Sam?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah. We had a good church service yet. What a gorgeous day it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Haven't had many of those this spring so far.
Opened the window as I was watching the Reds game. It was kind of nice because it kind of felt like, you know, you were there. You were getting the breeze in the window.
Yeah, the breeze was blowing through. I can see that.
And I
Well, you had
didn't have to spend $10 to get a drink.
No,
There
that's
you go.
nice. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not. I'll circle back to the weekend in just a minute. I read this morning that the most expensive ballpark in the Major League Baseball is Wrigley Field. The Chicago Cubs have the most expensive games. The Yankees are at second, and the Red Sox are at third, and then the Nationals. The Nationals are at 4, so that's the most expensive ballparks.
I went to Wrigley, and I know that it was not a cheap.
Pricey.
Yeah, well, and the Cubs were bad, so our tickets weren't too terrible, but the concessions and everything, I think we looked because we were looking at getting a Chicago dog while we were there, and we quickly looked at the prices and said, you know what, I think we'll wait and get one outside.
That's where they get you.
Oh,
is
yeah.
on the concessions. We had a great Sunday afternoon. Got to get outside. We had, instead of Easter dinner, we had Palm Sunday dinner in Windyville yesterday. Windyville, Grassland, that area, and then we got out and did some trail riding. Got out and just kind of enjoying the fresh air and the rolling topography and terrain of northern Edmonson County. And had a great meal. It was just great to be outside because
Yes, it was.
if you think about it, even the warm days that we've had in the spring have been primarily Sundays, but then it's like you got a limited amount of time or an afternoon. So again, it was a beautiful Sunday after what's going to be kind of a wet week. But I did notice. As we were departing yesterday, about ready to break camp and call it a day after the trail riding, I was loading up our equipment on the trailer, and I couldn't help but notice, and I appreciate his help, is my father-in-law kind of sauntered over while I was getting loaded up. He was doing that fatherly look in to make sure I knew what I was doing. You know, like he knows how to load things on trailers and tie stuff down and move cattle around and all these things. But City Slicker, he thinks he probably doesn't know what he's doing. But I heard him say to you, honey,
Yes.
didn't he say, looks like he's got a good system?
Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
Okay. So I was like,
Father-in-law approved.
I got
Good
the,
compliment,
I
right?
got
Yes.
the seal of approval, which was all I was going for. I went the whole day and I didn't break anything. I got everything loaded up properly. So it was It was a
It was very nice.
good day. Stormy week kicking off today. I hope you enjoyed yesterday because we won't have another one again for a few days. We could see some scattered showers and thunder developing this morning and a lull expected around lunchtime and then maybe another round for the afternoon that could contain some heavy rainfall and gusty winds. I haven't seen a rain measurement because I didn't go look for one, but I think we were supposed to get a quarter of an inch of rain overnight. Don't know if we got it. Well, it doesn't look like we got that because I've kind of looked around and we see water standing in some places, but
Lake Buckles is not quite.
Yeah, don't think we got as much as what might be indicated. But Wednesday evening is also a time period of concern. We have some lines of storms moving through, so be sure to have a way to get alerts for the next few days. And it's that spring season, we're on the warm up. The temperatures, there'll be enough heat building into the atmosphere that we can start to see some late afternoon stuff.
Did we not agree last week that we were done with 45 as a high?
Well, that's true, yeah, because we were talking about that at lunch yesterday. Just this week, temperature-wise, looks good in advance of the Easter Bunny. But the high on Sunday is now only 60 with a 60% chance of rain. Mm-hmm. Yesterday was about a 30% chance of rain. Then highs in the 50s for the following week. As we say here in the South, the weather just can't make up its mind. No, and we're going to need it to do that. High of 68 today. We'll see rain chance at 60% overnight tonight, and a 57 is the low. At least I didn't have to turn the heat on last night. It stayed warm enough that the low was at a level you go, well, we can just tough it out in the overnight hours. And a high of 75 for tomorrow with a 4 in 10 chance of rain, and maybe a thunderstorm or two. So maybe instead of just the long downpours, soaking rains, maybe we're going to get more of the isolated stuff. So some of the news headlines to update you on today. A Litchfield woman is facing a felony charge after being accused of driving impaired with a small child in the vehicle. Late last week, around 10:35, an Edmonson County deputy received information that a Chevy Cruze was driving erratically on 31W and 101. The deputy made contact with the vehicle in the 300 block of South Main Street in Brownsville, crossing the center line. Hard braking, erratic driving. Authorities stopped and and eventually arrested 26-year-old Sarah Harrison and her 5-year-old child was in the back seat. She was charged with DUI, first-degree wanton endangerment, resisting arrest, careless driving, etc. If you may remember a few weeks ago, mentioned a story about a Big Clifty woman who was in Morgantown, and did she leave her? She had a passenger in her vehicle. Well, just let me tell you the story. A Big Clifty woman has been indicted in Butler County on drug trafficking charges after recently being arrested in Edmonson County on drug possession. The Butler County grand jury indicted 27-year-old Brittany Parsons for trafficking in a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. She was arrested in Edmonson County on March 21 after a deputy observed an Accord crossing the center line several times on Morgantown Road. And Parsons was a passenger in the vehicle, and according to police, the Butler County Sheriff's Office had issued a drug complaint on her, and she was lodged but currently not listed in either Hart or Butler counties. But Edmonson County and Butler County may also be using different areas for their housing. Governor Andy Beshear vetoed a Republican priority measure on Friday that would ban abortions in Kentucky after 15 weeks of pregnancy and regulate the dispensing of abortion pills. The governor raised doubts about the constitutionality of the bill and criticized it for not including exceptions for pregnancies caused by rape or incest. State lawmakers will have a chance to override the veto when they reconvene next week for the final 2 days. This legislation is one of many that is coming through Republican-led legislatures around the country, and there obviously will be constitutionality tests to it. I would imagine it's going to the highest court in the land, but Kentucky following suit along with other states and then letting the Supreme Court sort that out as things move forward. So that clearly is not the last that we will hear on that particular issue. The governor on Friday vetoed bills that would revamp the state's tax code, also tighten rules for public benefits. And in his latest flurry of vetoes, the governor targeted a measure aimed at gradually phasing out individual income taxes while extending the state sales tax to more services. He also vetoed legislation that would add new rules and restrictions to Kentucky's public benefits system. And as I just mentioned, of course, the legislature, I would imagine, will override that veto. They wouldn't have gone to all that work if they didn't intend to override his veto. The new tax on 35 services and industries, the governor said, would hurt industries and undermine economic development opportunities. The bill imposes new taxes on hybrid and electric vehicles at a time when the state is poised to become a world leader in manufacturing those vehicles and their batteries. The governor warned that the bill would threaten Kentucky's economic future, claiming that other states damage their economies by drastically cutting income taxes. I guess that's a matter of perspective, and it depends upon how you look at things. For a better part of a decade, Kentucky has been trying to model itself more like Tennessee, Florida, Texas, etc. And so you have to determine if that economy is more to your liking or if the economy that we have is more to your liking. So it's just kind of a matter of perspective. Hard to argue with some of the growth and popularity of even like Nashville and Central Tennessee. And is that a byproduct of moves they made by eliminating their state income tax? I don't know. You could probably make a case one way or another. But again, legislature will override his veto, and I presume that will be that. A man accused of shooting at a candidate for mayor of Louisville pleaded not guilty to federal charges in U.S. District Court on Friday. 21-year-old Quintez Brown has been charged by a federal grand jury with interfering with a federally protected right and using and discharging a firearm in relation to a crime of violence by shooting at and attempting to kill a candidate for elective office. This is another one of those, you hear a guilty plea, not guilty plea, and I understand our Constitution allows us and provides for due process and the presumption of innocence until the proving of guilt. But it still does puzzle me when I stand back and go, I mean, there were plenty of witnesses that saw you walk in and do this, and there is evidence at the scene of shots being fired and bullet holes in clothing and things, and people say so it's just weird to me that a person says, no, I wasn't guilty of that.
Well, I saw the advertisement that the mayoral candidate, Greenberg, is that his name, I think, put out. And in that advertisement, it had like the video footage of the bullet holes, and it had a video of him like walking, and it was of his wife talking. It just really put things into perspective.
Sure.
Well, and I don't know if like crime shows are, a true indication, but when we watch those, typically if you go ahead and plead guilty, your charges may be reduced as opposed to pleading not guilty, going to trial, and you're likely to get a lengthier sentence.
Yeah,
that's what I
think probably part of it
observed.
is that I don't know what all of his charges are, but he might think, oh, well, charge C,
Okay.
I don't think is that high, and if I go to trial, the jury will agree that charge C shouldn't be there or whatever
Gotcha.
it is. And I don't know. That would probably be the thought process behind it. And
So interestingly enough, I saw our story last week that mentioned that Quintez Brown has been held at the Grayson County Detention Center since Wednesday. Now, the reason that to me is worth remarking on is because you may remember the few days after this shooting, apparently an alleged shooting. There was a shooting. I guess it just depends on whether we've decided it was him or not, and I think we have. But remember, he got bailed out. There was basically a crowdsourcing fund that came together that even paid his high bail. But whatever led to, if he's in custody now or was since Wednesday, something led to that bail either being revoked or something within the justice system said, you got to come on in and let us house you. And
I know I heard on KNN before I walked in this morning that they had mentioned that his attorney is saying that he should go back to house arrest.
Yeah, well,
which is what his attorney.
It's what his attorney
that's
should
the
say.
job, but yeah,
right. Well, he's on house arrest. It's just our house. So it's just right over the
Jason Woosley's house.
It's
right
over the hill. Speaking of Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher is back in Kentucky's largest city after a bout with coronavirus while he was overseas. He is set to resume a public schedule today. He had tested positive and was forced to quarantine last Sunday while in Israel for some type of mayoral conference. So seemed like everything was pretty mild, but went through the processes. I don't know this is true. I've got the impression, I have this feeling, it may only be twice, but it seems like Greg Fisher has had COVID 12 times. You know, even in the beginning, he was one of the early officials. He was doing press conferences from his home. Like, he was one of those early Zoom mayors, and they were doing it because the camera angles weren't all that great. Maybe that was only the second time he tested positive, but I've just got this feeling like he's had COVID a lot.
I don't know.
And I don't know if that's true or. Toyota Motor North America is adding 220 jobs as part of its push to increase electric vehicle manufacturing. The engineering jobs will be added to Toyota's production engineering division, which serves as a go-between for design and manufacturing. The new employees will be part of Toyota's efforts to look for ways to make electric vehicle manufacturing more efficient. So that's what you can expect. Louisville's, did you see this headline, Sam, about a bomb threat at the Louisville, North Carolina baseball game yesterday?
I saw it on Twitter yesterday.
It's weird.
It's bizarre because apparently they just told everybody at the game that they had to leave.
Yeah, a threat was made in an online forum, and it forced the evacuation of Cardinal Stadium. Was that Patterson Stadium, I think is the name of that?
Jim Patterson,
yeah,
I think.
and so spokesman John Carmen said the ACC contest was halted around 2:30. 2,600 spectators were, and obviously didn't find anything, and they resumed the game. But
they were losing 5-1 and then came back and won
2.5 hours
on a walk-off by a kid from Owensboro.
Interesting. The Atlanta Dream have traded up 2 spots to get the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft so they could get the player they feel can help turn around their franchise. And we all feel like the player that can turn around their franchise is Ryan Howard. You think she'll go number 1 in the WNBA draft?
She should.
Yeah.
No, she's fantastic. And I know nothing about the WNBA to know whether that would be a good position for her to be like a good, because obviously I'd want her to go to a place that she could maybe win a title or something, but I don't know, but hopefully.
2 hours ago, you could have twisted my arm as hard as you could and forced me to give you the name of the Atlanta WNBA
Can you name another
team.
WNBA team?
Yeah, the Spark and the Lynx. But I don't know what cities they belong to.
Okay. Los Angeles and Minnesota, I can tell you that.
Scotty Scheffler looked like a Masters champion even before he slipped into his green jacket. Hideki Matsuyama had a kind of a hard time getting the green jacket on him the first time. It did that little weird. If I ever put your coat on for you, hun, there's got to be, you have to keep your arms straight. There's this balance between, if you move your arm around trying to get your arm in your coat, it's hard to get it on you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're moving this arm, it starts to look awkward. There's a balance, like there's a ballet and a chemistry that goes along with putting someone's coat on them. And Scotty Scheffler and Hideki Matsuyama did not have that in Butler Cabin yesterday. It was awkward. By the time they did it again out on the green, it was a little more fluid because they had been able to practice it. But Scotty Scheffler came to within a stroke early on, but then he had the old classic 4-putt on 18 to win the Masters. He just, it was
at that point he was up by.
I know, but it was ugly. He should have won by 12. I mean, he should have won at 12 under, but gave a couple of back.
10 under, was that what we finished?
Yeah, 10, and gave 2 strokes back on 18 alone. The did you see the winter UK football game on Saturday? The Kroger Field was covered in snow an hour before they started playing on Saturday.
Like if it was Sunday's weather on Saturday, I probably would have gone.
Yeah,
just because. I mean, it would have been a nice day, but there was no way you were going to get me to go sit in there. I listened to it. I didn't know that there was going to be K105 coverage.
Yeah, so did you learn anything about spring? I watched it Saturday night on delay.
Dane Key, I know, made a couple good catches. Well, he had the one that he bobbled. He pulled it in.
He pulled it in. I don't know if that was a catch or more a hit. Like Levis just lodged it in him.
I appreciated the Cole Lanter, I think is his name, from Boyle County. He made the catch and then proceeded to do a backflip.
Oh,
which
I didn't see that one. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think Will Levis, you know what? I think he'll be a first-round pick next year.
Yeah, probably so. Are you happy with the Reds after opening weekend?
Oh, yeah.
They didn't sweep, did they? Was it 2 of 3 or
2 of 2?
2 of 2?
2 of 2 and 2. It was a 4-game series,
okay.
So they got a split. But it was interesting. You know, Hunter Green made his debut, and as the Reds color analyst made a point on the TV broadcast saying that Hunter Green was making his debut in Atlanta, just 2 hours from where the green jacket was going to be won. Hunter Green's one of the top prospects in all of baseball.
All right. By the way, the green jacket is not Hunter Green; it's Kelly Green. So
yeah,
it's a little bit of a stretch you're making there.
Still cool.
Yeah, I got it.
And,
No.
well, Hunter Green is also spelled with an E on the end as far as his name.
That makes sense. All right, and the Yankees got at least a couple on the Red Sox this weekend, so that's good. Always good to send those Red Sox guys back to Boston.
Shipping up to Boston,
as
right?
losers. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. Hang around here on In the Know.
You know it's going to be a good day when your biggest concern in the morning is collecting the crumbs falling from the McDonald's crispy chicken biscuit. Your only concern should be, has your day peaked too early?
Enjoy every last crumb of the new McDonald's crispy chicken biscuit for only $3. Get quick curbside pickup and you'll get your day started on a high note.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
When you're feeling under the weather or concerned about your family's health, you want the support of a trusted medical provider who lives close by and is available to care for you and your family. Dr. Gregory Koo is a family medicine physician who is putting down roots in this community. With 22 years experience, he's now accepting new patients in both Caneyville and at Owensboro Health Twin Lakes Medical Center in Litchfield. Learn more online at owensborohealth.org/KOO.
I'm a police officer. My 8-year-old always asks me, "Dad, did you help people today?" And most days, I do help people. But too often, I can't help people who make poor decisions, like texting and driving, or not bothering to wear a seatbelt. Be safe, Kentucky. Buckle up and put the phone down.
Paid with funds through the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
Google is jumping on the Fix Your Phone Yourself bandwagon, partnering with iFixit to provide official parts for Pixel phones later this year. New program will cover models ranging from the Pixel 2 through the Pixel 6 Pro and beyond. You'll have access to a full range of components like batteries, cameras, and displays, whether you buy them by themselves or alongside tools and iFixit Fix kits. Google also says it's expanding authorized repair shops' access to parts, tools, documentation, and training if you'd rather have someone else fix your handset. Twitter is testing out the unmentioned. Social network says select users now have the option to leave this conversation. That should probably untag them from other people's tweets when they've been directly mentioned by their handle. Now, this won't remove a user's handle from the offending tweet in question, but it will break the link functionality. The New York Times is out with the Wordle bot. The tool scores your completed Wordle solutions. It'll then use that information to tell you how you could have improved your personal algorithm. Tech Report, Larry Olson, and
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. All simple as program me. ABC, 1, 2, 3, baby, you and me, girl.
Today is Poutine Day.
It's good.
Fries, cheese curds, gravy. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds all right.
You never had it?
Yeah, I've had it. Had it at the Canadian Pavilion at Epcot, and I don't know.
I don't remember.
When I
did.
When I am around and you say, well, you could have poutine, and it's like, okay, if that's the only thing and I'm starving to death, sure, that would sound great. But it just, the other thing I got to tell you is at Epcot, when you're near the poutine, you're also near the fish and chips, and I'll just take
There
the
you
fish
go.
and chips 100 times out of 100. Well, let's allow for 99 out of 100. So today's poutine day.
Well,
so
why don't
for
you
Canadians.
make your chips the poutine? So then you get your fish and your poutine.
No, I can't do that. That messes up my vinegar and all, and my tartar and all that stuff. Today is cheese fondue day today.
Oh, big fan.
Oh, those forks are dangerous. You gotta be really careful with those. It began with Swiss cheeses like Emmentaler. Did I say that correctly?
Sure.
Gruyere. I know I said Gruyere correctly. But its options have expanded to incorporate a variety of cheeses and flavors to make endless mouth-watering combinations. And I think we've discussed it before. I don't like fondue.
I like fondue a lot.
It's 8-track tape day.
Oh, okay.
It's originally called the Stereo 8. But you could click through it, and it was good. But what was really made me interested in the 8-track tape is that you could oftentimes hear the track on the other side of the tape playing in the background. So if you turned it up between songs before it clicked over, and you get that sound, but you could also hear what was on the other half of the tape. And then today, I was going to pull up some music to accompany, but I thought I didn't want to see my wife frown today. It's Barbershop Quartet Day today. And so it's commemorating the 1938 date when the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America was founded.
Weren't you and Dennis working on a barbershop quartet? Isn't that true?
We're working on a barbershop duet.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
I didn't know
and
if
then
you were in the process of finding 2 more.
Then if a couple other people come along, then that'll be fine. We're not going to force it. We're not
You
taking
better have
2
the
more.
hats and the
Absolutely, bow ties and the little, barber where you
candy
put that
cane,
thing,
candy cane shirts,
that,
right?
That thing that's like a garter belt around your bicep.
Don't you need to grow a big like Mr. Redlegs mustache too?
Yeah, Raleigh Fingers. Just call me Raleigh Fingers. Just mustache on the end, without a doubt.
I'm not digging this.
Well, I knew you don't dig that. That's why I haven't done it yet.
Thank you.
But they do have a really good barbershop quartet at the Magic Kingdom. They come through and
They
sing.
do?
It's really nice. Well, and would you admit that that's about the right amount of barbershop quartet music for you?
Oh,
it's over in about a minute and a half.
Yes, I can. I can handle that, and I appreciate. I mean, I can appreciate it more in that environment. But to sit and listen to it for any length of time is.
It's a little bit for me like Zydeco music. I love Zydeco music for about a minute and a half, and then I'm like, oh, that's scraping on that washboard and everything. That just kind of.
I mean, barbershop. There are barbershop quartet. There are definitely songs and genres below it for me. 100%.
Okay.
I mean, it's not my favorite, but
Like chamber music.
well, I know.
Oh dear! I can't even.
Like you're giving me flashbacks now to Pomp and Circumstance, listening to that for 2.5 hours.
Are either of you still playing Wordle?
No.
I never was to begin with.
A bot.
tried it
I
one
played
time.
Worldle, the geography, and I try Hurdle, but I'm not very good at it.
A bot has settled on best opening word in Wordle. The bot has decided it's crane. Crane. That's the best opening move.
Okay.
So that's not one I would have thought of. But in case you're still playing, there were others that were like adieu, ADIEU. Get a lot of the vowels out there
Sure.
on the table. You can learn a lot in your first move by just throwing adieu out there. Audio is another one, and then Ouija, like in Ouija board, would be another one that would be vowel. For 5 letters to be able to squeeze at least 3 vowels in there is a strong move. I'm reading where the Dirty Dozen list of 12 fruits and vegetables with the most pesticides is out.
Great.
Yeah.
Can hardly wait.
Well, I don't know that we should worry too much about it. This is just.
I mean, listen, we're still standing.
I
been-
don't.
we've
Yeah, I
probably
don't.
been eating.
Things like that don't. But I've changed my diet this week, so it's like, oh, just time.
A simple sample of kale, collard, and mustard greens had up to 21 different pesticides, this says.
I do like kale.
Strawberries at 1, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, bell and hot peppers, cherries, peaches, pears, celery, and tomato are on the 12 Dirty Dozens
Pretty
list.
sure a tomato is just pure pesticides. You probably shouldn't eat them.
You take that back.
Oh, I'm gonna say. I'll say it again.
Predictably, the clean 15 consisted of produce with a peel, skin, or husk.
That makes
Well, yeah,
sense.
because it wouldn't get to the
Right.
portion that you eat. Avocado, sweet corn, papaya, onions, kiwi, cabbage, mangoes, and others. So, notably, some non-toxic all-stars on the list defy the peel pattern: mushroom and asparagus, for whatever reason.
Oh, really like both.
So they are ones that don't have a husk or a peel on the outside, but for whatever reason they aren't used.
Finally, have another fact I can tell about asparagus.
Mushrooms don't need a lot of help. Mushrooms are just mushrooms, and they're good. And
Take them or leave them.
but I will tell you, without pesticides, our produce, our fruit and vegetable costs. Well, one, we would all just have to have a garden and grow it, because it would be so expensive, because there would be so much loss without pesticides, and those things also become disease resistant. And
I mean,
it's hard work farming all that.
honestly, if you don't want all the pesticides, you probably should visit the farmers market when they have it at the extension office. I'm
Grow
sure that
on
there's
your
probably
own.
plenty of people that don't use them there.
A new study says, I found this to be interesting, farming made our ancestors shorter. So previous generations of Americans and North Americans, where we had the switch from hunter-gatherer lifestyles to crops, lopped an average 1.5 inches off their height. And then farming, of course, more food for less work. But ditching the foraging might have been a bad idea for Neolithic men's health. Shorter because they were bent over more. And
Kind of
then,
involved
but
into
as we
that.
get away from that, then we see a return to gaining height. Now, it will happen over generations and decades. But I thought it was an interesting consideration.
I mean, I get it makes sense.
It does to me.
Just because you are bending over and
Is there, young Mr. Garmley, is there one household chore that you despise more than all the other household chores?
don't typically enjoy dishes
Okay.
and putting the laundry away. I know that that's like a portion of a larger chore, but I feel like laundry, you kind of like split it up into many chores.
Okay,
Those are kind of the
s-
two.
as a sidebar, let me ask you this question. Do you think at your age that you're still considered a young adult?
25?
Yeah? Do you consider yourself to be a young adult? Or are you just an adult now?
I mean, I think isn't young adult like 18 to 24?
I don't know. I'm asking. I'm not.
I think
don't know the
I
rules.
just graduated from that a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So
I'm an old man.
A new poll says a codger is what you are, a codger. 66% of young adults dread doing the laundry. 2 in 3 young Americans avoid wearing their favorite clothes because they don't want to ruin them in the wash. A new poll found that 66% of respondents limit how often they wear some of their best outfits out of fear the washing machine will wreck them. Many believe, and the right way to do the wash, apparently some of these things are changing. I don't think new clothes are bleeding as much anymore. I don't think you have to worry about washing them the first time and then bleeding. 30 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, I think that was more of a concern. Right? Many people believe the right way to separate laundry is by white and by colors. A very segregated way of doing it, while 26% insist that light and dark is the way to go, and 22% do both. So, are we okay on that?
What's the percentage that just says screw it? I want to throw it all in at once.
That's
I think that's the 29%.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I gave up on splitting, and just because it's a lot easier just to do one big load than.
I will occasionally combine, but it's not very often.
Yeah, I know you usually
Oh,
give
I'm-
consideration,
I'm kind of.
And as I'm saying, the only person's clothes I'm washing are my own.
right?
Yeah.
So it,
I typically do darks and then or white or like his dress shirts, like white shirts, and then I do towels and those. All
I mean,
three
I'll
are separate loads.
I'll split towels. I do sheets separate, but
Yeah.
as far as clothing, it usually all goes in at once.
It also, I think for you, my observations in our household is that you do lights together and darks together until you get to the end of the line, and then
Yeah.
you go,
Well, when it's
This
just,
last load
you know,
we'll
when
just
I've
put together.
when I've already taken care of, 2 big loads, and then these scragglers come through, and I want them all finished by the weekend. By the time the weekend's over, I see this small amount, and I'm just like, I'll just throw them all in there.
It's like, we'll just chance it.
Yeah.
Gonna roll the
Give it
dice
a
on
whirl.
this one. Some must-haves for laundry include 75% say a dryer sheet is required.
Yes,
Only 75%.
Well, I've seen, interestingly enough, in my lifetime, I've seen the emergence of the dryer sheet. I remember early in life there was
Well,
no such thing as
How
a
many?
dryer sheet.
How many do you put in there?
Uno.
Really?
Yes.
See, my grandma always said to put in like 3, so I always put in 3.
wow.
Just stack it up.
She must have had stock in the game company or something.
Listen, my grandma was the laundry expert. My mom's watching; she'll back it up.
Yeah.
was a laundry wizard.
Laundry's gotten fancy,
But
We've
see-
gone with pods. In my old days,
Oh,
you
see, I got the
scoop a-
Tide Pods.
Scoop a Tide. You get a scoop out of that box in there, and the granules go everywhere.
My grandma though was one of those that she'd find a way to split it into like 6 loads. So it'd be like blues, reds,
Oh, okay.
whites.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was all the way in.
The new washing machines, say they have 16 different cycles. I'm thinking we're lucky to just use 2. You
Yes.
know, hot, cold. That's pretty much it.
Occasionally, maybe use the delicate.
68% say fabric softener, but how many people do fabric softener and then a dryer sheet? Like the dryer sheet's supposed to take place of the fabric softener,
I
isn't
think,
it?
doesn't my Tide Pod have the the dryer sheet is the fabric softener, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
yeah.
And anti-static and yes.
Now, we have recently
Laundry.
Yeah, that
started
was my
to
grandma.
use-
She could nail them both.
and I haven't used them. You asked me the other day when I was doing a load, you said, did you put the beads in there? And I said, no. And what I didn't say out loud to you, Miss Buckles, was, I don't know how to use those. Like, it's just, they're there. They came with the gain. I see you use them. I'm not disputing their value. I'm just not trained on how to use them.
I think I've used those once. I think in college, when you get your textbooks from one place, they send you a bunch of different samples. And one time, one of the samples I got was a Tide Pod and then some of those beads. So that's the only time I'd ever used the beads.
I thought I knew what I was doing. And of course, we've had them before.
But we had a small thing. Now we have a big gargantuan thing,
Yes,
so.
but and I'm not much on reading directions when I think I know something. So you're supposed to do add the beads, then fill the water, then add the clothes. So I learned the hard way on one of the loads. So had all the clothes in there, the water already in, and I just did the beads on top. And I found that, I guess it could be washing machine related. I still have not gone back and read the directions, but they did not dissolve completely. So I had to rewash that load.
Bead clothes.
Oh, yeah. So these are, you know how those bath bomb stores have crept up, in various places? So these are bath bombs for your washing machine. Little
probably
beads
a little good way to put it.
that
Yeah.
they dissolve in the
But
water.
I like them more in like our sheets and our towels.
That makes sense.
And during COVID and all that, I was using the Lysol sanitizer in with some of our laundry.
Have
as
you
well.
ever used a delicates bag? Have you ever used a bag for a delicates bag you put in the laundry? Sam says no. You say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never even. If I've seen one,
I think
don't
my
know
mom
it.
has used one before.
I don't know where mine ever got off to, but
There's nothing about me that's delicate. So I don't. I don't. So I found that to be interesting about the laundry, 2/3. And then I read this list of. You learn a lot about. You learn about laundry. You learn about doing things as you get older. You just at becoming an adult. Here are some things. A list I ran across from I think BuzzFeed. Things that I learned a little too late in life. Number 1 says, I was almost 40 when I learned I am allergic to bananas. I thought everyone's mouth got itchy when they ate them. If a food is making you itchy, you might want to look into it.
That's why you don't eat the bananas.
That's right. I can't chance it. Another person said, I learned too late that ponies are not baby horses. They're a breed of horse.
oh dear.
One other person said,
No, pony's just a small horse.
I learned that baby carrots are just shaved down big carrots. I was devastated a few years ago. They thought they were going to the baby carrot farm where that's all they grew were baby carrots. That's pretty funny. Another person said that the saying is for all intents and purposes and not for all intensive purposes. Yeah.
I've been known to
I
mess that one up
hear
a few
people like do
times.
that.
The good old,
Unfortunately,
I could care less. No, you could not care less.
Care less. That Washington State and Washington, D.C. are two different places. I learned that pretty early on, so I
That
don't
one
know.
I was pretty good on.
I get it. I understand, but never had that problem. And then lastly, I learned too late, according to this person, that rotating tires doesn't mean spinning them around in place like you're in a Fast and the Furious movie. It means you swap each of their positions on the car. Oh yeah, look, those tires are rotating. They're going round and round and round. So
I prefer just to spin them.
those are things they learn too late in life. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. Hang around. In the know.
At KU, we're empowering Kentucky's future every day through sustainability efforts that energize our economy and help our light shine brighter than ever. From committing to net zero carbon emissions by 2050 to offering customers programs that support 100% renewable energy to installing more charging stations for electric vehicle drivers. See more ways we're empowering sustainability at lge-ku.com/sustainability.
Quality paves the way. That's the motto of Scotty's Contracting and Stone. All of the crushed stone products from Scotty's quarry in Litchfield are mined underground. Scotty's Contracting and Paving provides cleaner products made from pure limestone. If you agree that quality makes the difference, contact the team at Scotty's Contracting and Stone for crushed stone products for your project at 259-5696. That's 259-5696. Our quarry is located on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
While we may disagree a lot, we do agree Rural King's our favorite place for spring planting.
Yeah, but we've got to focus. Roses, a couple flats of impatiens, and a spade.
A shovel? I'm thinking tiller.
We do not need a tiller.
Wait, a mower. Those no zero turns are sweet.
Focus. Roses, mulch, shovel, impatiens.
Jeez, talk about impatient.
Can I help you?
Yeah, chainsaws.
Let's go.
I'm almost done mowing this section.
Ridiculous.
I'm an emergency medical technician. Today I arrived at the scene of a crash. I've seen enough of these to know it's a bad one. Young female driver, unconscious. I see her phone on the floor. The screen says OMW. On my way. She never hit send. Be safe, Kentucky. Buckle up and put the phone down.
Paid with funds through the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
When caring for a family member, their state of health is continually on your mind. And when they're faced with a health concern, you'll do just about anything to make them feel better. Rest assured, their feel better starts right here at Midway Pharmacy. We take our time to get to know all about your family's health history so we can provide you with educated advice. So when someone's counting on you to help them maintain a healthy lifestyle or to overcome that untimely sickness, remember, at Midway Pharmacy.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather.
Keep an eye on the radar over the next few days because we do see multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, including for this afternoon into the evening hours. Some more of those will show up portions of your Tuesday with an isolated severe threat, a better chance of strong storms on Wednesday. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
And I drive, and I think about my life and wonder why.
Did you know Scooby-Doo character Shaggy's real name is Norville Rogers?
Yes, I did know that.
I did not know that.
So Casey Kasem was the voice of Norville Rogers, who they called Shaggy.
I did know that.
Okay.
Like zoinks. Norville Rogers. Where's that name come from?
No, that's strange.
Doesn't make any. So the others were Norville and Daphne. What was the blonde-headed kid's name?
Fred.
Velma.
Scooby.
Velma. That's right. Don't forget.
Come on.
Look at you. And
I love
I actually
Scooby-Doo.
watched it, but look at you go.
Scooby-Doo is my favorite.
Don't forget Scrappy.
Oh, yeah. Scrappy Doo.
The weekend box office, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Booms brought in $71 million, broke a video game adaptation record. The bar was probably set pretty low. Morbius at number 2, sounds morbid, so I'm probably out on that. The Lost City, which I still want to see, is number 3. So the quicker they can get it on demand.
Is that the Sandra Bullock one?
Yes.
I think somebody in the building saw that this weekend.
Daniel Radcliffe and Brad Pitt.
Harry Potter.
Yep. No, Daniel Radcliffe. Ambulance The Batman at number 5. So that's what happened at the weekend box office. The Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards were yesterday. I don't know. I lost track. There was so much content on television this weekend between.
You mean you weren't on the edge of your seat watching this?
Well, I was not. I was busy. I couldn't even get to some of the things I normally intake on
Masters
Sunday.
took a lot of the time.
The Masters took a lot, and then the UK Spring Game, and what else was there that was?
Did you watch Sunday Night Baseball?
Oh, I did. I skimmed through 2 Yankees games, so it was a lot. But favorite kids show: High School Musical, the series, iCarly, favorite family TV show.
I didn't know that was still on.
America's
Both of those for me. I can't believe they're still on.
AGT, favorite reality show. I don't know. SpongeBob SquarePants, favorite cartoon.
Ugh.
Olivia Rodrigo, favorite female TV star for kids. Okay.
I'd like to know how many times SpongeBob has won that award.
I would say a lot.
Probably a lot. Magellan
stand
TV will pay you $2,400 to watch 24 hours of true crime. A streaming service dedicated to true crime stories is offering someone $2,400 to watch 24 hours of documentaries and report on the experience. See, wait a minute.
So consecutively?
That's Sam, that's $100 an hour.
Is that consecutively? Like, do I have to carry my iPad to the restroom?
Listen,
Can I ever close my eyes?
I'll do it for $25 an hour.
Right?
Magellan TV said its third annual True Crime Watch Dream Job, which follows similar offers made in 2020 and 2021, will pay $2,400 and a free year subscription to a winning candidate who watches 24 hours. Oh, you've got to do it, and then maybe you win.
Oh.
No, that doesn't work. I thought this was...
Now, do you get to choose the true crime you watch?
Pre-negotiated deal. I have a feeling it's
all pre.
on Magellan TV. Isn't that the network?
I've never even heard of that.
Dancing with the Stars is moving to Disney Plus. That's probably about the right time. I mean, they've done... I told you they long ago had to redefine the definition of star.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Have they even released to the new season? Is there anybody on there that...
it'll be the first live series on Disney Plus, according to the heads of the show, and says the show's broad appeal as well as the overwhelming popularity of its Disney-themed competition nights make Disney Plus the perfect home for Dancing with the Stars. Platform the switch comes to ABC as ABC looks ahead to NFL games next season that will air on Monday night, which has normally been Dancing with the Stars. So it's a real estate issue. That's
I think
moving things around.
probably a smart idea to switch to the NFL than Dancing with the Stars.
Better Call Saul, Bryan Cranston, and Aaron Paul to reprise their Breaking Bad characters in a final season of Better Call Saul. Have you seen Better Call Saul? I know you watched all of it.
I haven't.
You've not.
Oh, it's good.
It's on
good.
my list.
It's good.
J-Lo and Ben are, basically Benifer back in full effect. They are engaged. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, engaged to be married. But they say they're not making wedding plans. Okay, whatever you say. And then there is a report circulating around the weekend that I found to be intriguing regarding what may be the true story about Tom Brady. Sam, have you dived into this?
I read a little bit about it this morning.
So there is
Something with the Dolphins, right?
Ben Volan, who writes for the Boston Globe, I won't hold that against him, published an article on Friday about Brady's offseason, and it says, here was the plan. His best friend and big Michigan supporter is one of the big wigs with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
So the deal was Brady was going to, the early on plan was the Dolphins were going to trade with Tampa for Brady, and Brady was going to be involved in ownership of Tampa, of Miami, and also Miami was going to hire Sean Payton, who was leaving the Saints, and they thought, match made in heaven. And then about that time, that lawsuit, that discrimination lawsuit against the Dolphins was filed, and they thought the optics of that looked bad in hiring a white Tom Brady and a white Sean Payton at the Dolphins when they were embattled in this scandal.
Getting rid of a minority quarterback, too, in the process of doing so, and a minority head coach.
That's right. And so they said, yeah, we can't do that. So Brady says, okay, well, I'll just retire. And he sat there and he stayed retired. But then he said, I'll go back to the Bucs. But then he didn't like Bruce Arians. So he says Arians has got to go. If I come back, Arians has got to go. So my point is, look in the future for Brady to be involved in ownership, and it could very well be with the Dolphins, but it's probably 2 years down the road. Wouldn't you imagine?
Listen, it's probably 25 years down the road. We'll all be in walkers.
Tom Brady, the animatronic, will be the starting quarterback for all of the NFL teams, and just see which animatronic can play better. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. Hang around here on In the Know.
After you load your groceries into the trunk of your car, what do you do with the shopping cart? Do you park it in one of those corrals, or do you leave the cart right there adrift on a sea of asphalt where it can become a nuisance for others? According to one humorous take on that idea, your choice reveals your true moral character. The theory is based on the notion that returning a shopping cart is a basic courtesy. You borrow a cart from the supermarket to gather your groceries and transport them to your vehicle. Then you return the cart for others to use. It's an easy task and is generally considered the appropriate thing to do. But many people believe returning a shopping cart is only an implied morality. It's not illegal to abandon a cart, so there's no compelling motivation to return it. The shopping cart theory examines whether people do what's right because they're forced to or because they want to positively impact people in their community. A culture's strength is rarely the result of sweeping changes or earth-shaking innovations. It's the result of small things that you and I do every day at the grassroots level. Holding a door open for a stranger, helping a neighbor, and yes, returning a shopping cart. Irish statesman Edmund Burke once said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." We can all do something small every day to make our corner of the world a better place. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
The credit card debt happened when my daughter was born. I was using one credit card account to roll over into another credit card account, and it was snowballing.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
When I first called Trinity, the representative understood the need based on the situation. They were great people to work with. From the first phone call that I made, they had me on a track to mitigate the credit card debt.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
Working with Trinity gave me the ability to save thousands of dollars. My name's Doug, and thanks to Trinity, I'm debt-free for keeps.
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
MB's Point to Ponder for today. I'm going to ask you, which of the following statements is your doctor least likely to tell you? All right, the least likely doctor advice based upon these choices. Ready?
Okay.
Right. First, eat an apple and I'll see you tomorrow. The old adage is eat an apple a day and the doctor, keep the doctor away. Okay. Rub dirt on it.
That's a good one, though. It works.
We're going to try something called the silent treatment.
I do like the silent treatment.
I kind of wish, yeah.
Have you tried turning yourself off and then back on?
I like that one. I like that one.
Reboot yourself. I'd say some doctors would try that. And then I like maybe this one. Just keep picking at it.
Yeah.
You think your doctor's likely to just keep picking at it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like
See
the
how that turns out.
reboot one.
Yeah.
I've still been trying to find my reboot button.
Okay. Which one is the least likely to hear of all
Probably
that?
keep picking.
Maybe. But it's my favorite. On CBS tonight from Nashville, the CMT Music Awards. You'll get Kelsey Ballerini, Anthony Mackie,
Those
host.
just happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That was the ACMs or...
Do we need another one?
Right.
There are about 4 of them, or 3 of them at least. And then night number 2 of American Idol from Disney's Aulani Resort in Hawaii, the top 24. So they had night 1 was last night. And there's actual voting. I've not seen it, but they did something new where normally the Hawaii vote, the Hawaii trip is pre-packaged and there's no live voting, but they had promoted the last week that America would be able to vote. Maybe it's just tonight.
Are any of our Kentuckians still in it? I know the one from Owensboro, Davis County.
Yeah, he was too young. He's from Fordsville.
Fordsville. Yeah, I knew it was
Yeah,
Ohio
from
County,
Ohio
something
County.
in that range. I know he was eliminated, but is the one from Eastern Kentucky still in it?
Yeah, Noah, the kid from at least going to Hawaii.
He's good.
He was
He
still
can sing.
in it. Yeah,
Oh, he
was
goes
good.
to Hawaii?
Yeah. What was that song that he did? He did like a pop song or a hip hop song, or he did some pop song last week that you would have never imagined
Country version?
would it be a country version, but he slayed it. I thought, wow, what an interesting take on that. So that's on television tonight if you don't want to watch the CMT Music Awards.
Well, I'd rather listen to barbershop quartets than watch the CMTs.
Oh.
Yeah, it'd be really hard for me to decide between the two of those.
Today's highlight in history, there's that. Today's highlight in history, this date, 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which included the Fair Housing Act. Napoleon Bonaparte abdicated as Emperor of the French, this date in 1814. So we know about President Lincoln's most famous speeches or addresses. This date in 1865, President Lincoln spoke to a crowd outside the White House saying, "We meet this evening not in sorrow, but in gladness of heart." And that was his last public address.
I was going to say, I knew that what date was it that he, like the 6th, 15th, 14th,
Yep.
something like that?
At 1865, on this date, he gave his last public address. And it was, "We meet this evening not in sorrow, but in gladness of heart." I think it's like, you know how the presidents do when they're getting ready to get on Marine One?
Mm-hmm.
The chopper blades are whirling and they're out there standing and they stop and talk to the press gaggle. I think as President Lincoln was going to get on Marine One,
Mhm.
he stopped and talked to them.
And then did he send a tweet when he got on there too?
He did. He said, just talked with the gaggle. Hashtag White House Press Corps.
Kofifi.
Kofifi. This date in 1970, Apollo 13 with astronauts Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert blasted off on their ill-fated mission to the moon. That's where we, got our infamous Houston, we have a problem. In 2013, comedian Jonathan Winters died at age 87 in Montecito, California. Birthdays today: Ethel Kennedy is 94. Actor Joel Grey is 90. Lisa Stansfield is 56. Singer Joss Stone is 35 today. Not a lot in the birthday
I was gonna
department.
say, I don't think I know any of those
And
names.
then gone but not forgotten, Meshack Taylor, who was on Designing Women. Remember, he wore all the big bright colored
Yes,
suits.
I
And
do.
He was
Mhm.
he was born this date in 1947. He passed away back in
Powering through the
2014. It's not your turn. My apologies for that rude interruption. Should I do a chart topper? Yeah, I guess we got time for the chart toppers today. Let's go to 19. We're getting to get in the way back machine. 1959. Frankie Avalon, number one, with Venus.
So Venus Williams ever co-hosted with this be her walk-up, or would this be her intro music?
Without a doubt. Or if we were trying to sell women's razors. Isn't that a kind of women's razor? The Venus?
It is.
Venus?
I'd like to know what you'd pick for Serena.
That'd be tough. But I'm up to the task. 1968, the Delphonics, number one. With La La Means I Love You. It's actually La 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 Means I Love You.
All I know is la 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 la. I love you.
Neither of you seem overly impressed
No.
with the Delphonics.
I mean, you definitely could be playing worse.
1977. ABBA. Number one, Dancing Queen. A lot of low end in this version. Can't tell you how many times I listened to that album on 8-track in the back seat of the car with my parents.
I mean, I don't They're fun. I mean, they're good. It's not the top of my list, but
Leo Sayer and ABBA, the Eagles, like the Eagles on 8-track.
They're coming to Louisville in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I heard that. I'd rather hear the album. 1986, John Cougar Mellencamp, number 1, R-O-C-K.
Which version of John Mellencamp is your favorite? John Cougar? John Cougar Mellencamp? John Mellencamp? None of the above?
What weird. Stereophonic. Runaway. Real McCoy, number 1 in 95. I was going to play TLC, Red Light Special, but then it said Dirty Version. I can't play that. But, I don't know.
I was going to say that I'm not a fan of the audio on that one.
Yeah. That's insane.
There you go.
And then This Love, Maroon 5 in 04. Okay.
Oh.
And then, sorry. And then in...
There are very few country songs that I can tolerate. This is on the list.
Darius Rucker, number 1.
Shout out Ryan Lemon, right?
I love that she laughed because she's loved this song. Wagon Wheel, number 1. Yeah, 2013.
Oh, dear.
This is a throwback. Okay, so I actually don't mind this song this much.
No, I don't.
And, a decade down the road, I kind of like it. At the time, you couldn't go anywhere without somebody playing it. Yeah, it's just everywhere.
Who did the original? Was it Old Crow?
Old Crow Medicine Show. But the funny part is, I was going to play Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z, Suit and Tie, but it was the dirty version. So I was like, well, I got to play Darius Rucker. So, but it's still a
perfect timing to lead into KSR. Right?
Throwback to 2010 Nashville. Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right, MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. MP's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know, and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powering through the Twin Lakes with the best mix of music, news, weather, and fun. If it's in the Twin Lakes, it's on.